Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the July 31st of 2018 edition of Our City, shot right here live in the mayor's office at the Muscatine City Hall. Before we get to our guests tonight, I had a couple things that we just had this past weekend that I wanted to share with all of you, and you know, none of us can forget RAGBRAI. It was just this past weekend. I can't forget what I was doing 2 years ago, RAGBRAI, and you'll see Dave Cooney and I actually planted the 100th RAGBRAI tree 2 years ago. It was a great day. It wasn't very hot that day either, like it was this past weekend for all the riders. But we've got some great shots that Ryan Broderson took of RAGBRAI this past weekend. We just wanted to show you. He claims he was laying on the side of the road doing this. We have yet to have any visual proof of that, but that's his story. Oh, look at that one. They all have a lot of fun, and you know what? It's a great time for a lot of folks, and it gets people going out all the way across the state and ending up in Davenport this year. So thanks to all of you that came out and watched or contributed or were involved in RAGBRAI at all this past weekend. We had coffee with the mayor on Saturday, had a nice turnout, thanks to everyone who came. And on Sunday, we went to Dr. Jabari's retirement party. And it was such a nice open house. I mean, he's still going to be doing some part-time work up in the Quad Cities, but really, he's had such a presence here in our community for such a great long time, and we thank him for the contribution that he made in the lives of a lot of families right here in Muscatine. And, you know, the city was also hopping with all of the college search kickoff. I saw people all around town shopping and eating and having a good time. And then last Wednesday, I went to Bickford, and we have some good shots of a pie judging contest that we were able to do. It was a fun day. We had, there were 3 of us judges, and we had 9 or 10 pies, and we went through and tasted them all and judged them on crusts and filling and taste, and it was a really fun evening. And then we cut them all up and served them to all the residents of Bickford. It was a really nice afternoon, and I thank them for including us in doing that this past Wednesday. Nice day. Everybody worked real hard on the pies. And you know what? A lot of community people donated the pies, so it was a really fun time. So without further ado, I want us to get to our first guest. We have Muscatine County Sheriff C.J. Ryan here. Thanks for coming, C.J.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, you're often behind the scenes sometimes, and so people might not know you too much personally. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my wife, Sue, and I reside in rural Muscatine County. We have 3 children and 10 grandchildren.
10? Wow.
Yeah, more than a baseball team now at this point.
Hey, there you go. Like football.
Yeah, we're lucky enough that they've all pretty much stayed local, so they're all in the Muscatine County area. I grew up in Tipton, Iowa, so just one county north in Cedar County. I attended college at Mount Mercy College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And then I came to work for the Muscatine County Sheriff's Office here in 1986.
Wow.
So I've had many...
So you're old, kind of.
Well, I can tell you I've been here for 32 years.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I'm going to confess to being old.
Okay.
But over the course of the last 32 years, I've had the opportunity to serve in many different roles inside the Sheriff's Office. Starting out as a road patrol deputy, I did quite a bit of work in investigations. I was tasked to command the investigations division at the Sheriff's Office. I transferred to narcotics and worked with the local Muscatine County Drug Task Force, and ended up commanding that organization as well. And then in 2009, I was asked to be the chief deputy of the office for Sheriff Dave White.
Oh, yeah.
And I served in that capacity until the spring of 2015 when I took over as sheriff.
Well, don't you think it really helps you be able to do your job now, having done all of those other jobs for the people that work for you now?
Yeah, you know, I think that experience matters.
I do too.
So I think it was a great a great time learning over the
Sure.
course of the 3 decades, prior to stepping into the sheriff's role.
Uh-huh.
So you understand the way the office operates.
Right.
You understand what works and what doesn't work, maybe
Mm-hmm.
because you've tried something in the past that didn't work, and so it's now deemed a bad idea. So we don't have to repeat those mistakes.
Right. I'm kind of that way too at the Y. I didn't start out as the director, so I worked my way. I did a couple of things for a short while up to that point. But then you kind of have a better feel for the people that are now working for you, what they're doing, and what you're asking them to do. And it's not anything you didn't do yourself, so you have a working knowledge.
Right, and I certainly agree with you, and I think that it helps you treat people right.
I agree.
Because you've been in those roles
Yep.
before, and
Exactly.
you knew what was good and bad, and
Yes.
it just helps things function more efficiently, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. So busy guy, right?
Very, very busy,
Uh-huh.
but that's good. That's okay.
That's true, certainly. So what kind of different things do you do in the community?
Well,
So I know you're involved in a lot of different things. You and I have had our pie thrown in our face. For Alzheimer's, we've done salsa tasting contest at Sunnybrook, and we're on several different committees together. So I
Right.
know you do a lot of that stuff.
I'm always very, very busy. It's important to me to be involved in the community. So we have boards and commissions. So I sit on the 911 board. I actually chair that board. I sit on the Emergency Management Commission, which I currently chair, and you know very well because you're the vice chair.
Yes.
And that's an organization that sometimes we have trouble getting people to come to the meeting and make a quorum so that we can get some business done. I have to congratulate you because you are always there as the City of Muscatine's representative, and so that's a great help to the emergency
Thanks.
management.
You and I are always there, and Angie Dickey's always there. I mean, we
Yep.
can name a few.
Yeah, Bob
But you-
Howard's always there.
Yes,
So
it is getting better though, isn't it?
it is. We're having some more involvement, and that's a good thing because we have a lot of different things going on with emergency management right now to take care of.
Yes.
So I also sit on the user group, so that's the user group in connection with Muscom.
Sure.
And I alternately chair that organization. The chair passes back and forth between the Muscatine Chief of Police and the Muscatine County Sheriff every year. As far as community involvement, every year we're involved with the Toys for Kids program. So that's Viola Werner's program done in conjunction with the Salvation Army to make sure that underprivileged kids and families that maybe don't have a whole lot, that the kids can have a good Christmas. Myself and my organization, we're always heavily involved with Special Olympics in Muscatine County
sure.
every year. We have our bike ride every year that starts at the Y that you're very familiar with,
Yes.
that goes to Riverside. So we help every year for as long as I can remember to raise funds for that organization. I'm also a sponsor for the Wilton Trap Team.
I didn't realize that.
So about 2 or 3 years ago, they started that organization, and that's now a recognized sport in high school. So it's always very, very important to me that parents spend time with their kids. And while they're spending time with the kids, if they want to teach them about firearm safety, I'm a big proponent of that.
Yep.
I also belong to the local Delta Waterfowl organization,
Oh, sure.
and I don't hunt ducks.
Okay.
But that's another organization that's been very, very active in working with youth and making sure that they know about firearm safety. Or maybe they give a child an opportunity to go fishing or to learn to use a bow and arrow and things of that nature that maybe mom and dad aren't avid participants in those sports, so they
Sure.
don't have anyone to teach them. And so they're very, very active with the youth in Muscatine County in teaching them those things, and I'm a big supporter of that.
Good.
And of course, there's always special events and community functions that are ongoing, things that you're very familiar with. Most of them take place at nights. They take place on weekends.
Sure.
So
Fundraisers and different.
yes, sometimes we get
fun
pies thrown in
things.
our face.
Yes.
But those are the extra things that are above and beyond your 40-hour work week. You're always out at meetings or community events that happen at night. They happen on the weekend. My wife would tell you that they happen every weekend.
Yes.
but they don't
My
happen.
husband would too.
Yeah,
Where are you going now?
They don't happen every weekend, but
No,
sometimes
sure,
it seems
sure.
like they do. But that's another big focus for the deputies that
Sure.
work for me. So if they're a deputy sheriff and they're working here, they're required to live inside Muscatine County, because I believe that they should live where they police. And they're very, very good about it. We encourage them to become part of their community.
Sure.
So they don't just go to work and do their work and go home and hide inside the house. They're all, they live in towns all throughout Muscatine County.
We're all just a big community.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
they're very, very active in their communities, which is exactly what we want. We want people to be able to interact with law enforcement, not be afraid of law enforcement or have them be
Shouldn't-
unapproachable.
Yeah, exactly. Shouldn't be an adversarial
Right.
role.
I mean, everyone has a
should be-
job to do,
yes,
and
exactly.
unfortunately, sometimes we see people at their worst possible moment.
Yes.
And it's good when we have opportunities like the county fair and different events that we go to, that we have the opportunity to interact with people on good days.
Yes. Yep. And I always think too, to teach our youth that they're a friendly face to go to when you need help.
Right, and I mean, we have stuffed animals, we have coloring books for very young children and things of that nature. And the goal basically is to teach them that we're very approachable, that if they're in trouble, we're someone that they can come to for help, not be afraid of.
Exactly. Exactly. I always frown when people tell their kids to behave or they're going to call the cops to put them in jail or what have you.
Yeah, that's,
This is not the message you want to send.
we hear that, but that's not something that
No.
we like to hear.
We want them to know that if they see a policeman and they're in trouble, they can go up and ask for help.
Right, and I know some of the pictures that you're showing are of the special needs Easter egg hunt.
Yes, yes.
I've been involved with that organization for several years, and the other people that work for me, the deputy sheriffs, they've embraced that. They like to go to that event. They like to interact with the special needs children. And those are people really that we need to get that message out to,
Yeah.
that person in that uniform is your friend.
That's right. That's right. How many deputy sheriffs do you have?
We have 21 deputy sheriffs, but my total employees with the jail and the
Sure.
support staff, I have about 100 employees that work for me.
So you have the only female deputy sheriff?
Well, not deputy sheriff. I have the only female chief deputy sheriff.
Chief deputy sheriff.
So
she's in charge of the other sheriff, of their deputies.
Yeah, basically because some people don't understand what we mean by chief
What
deputy.
the roles are, yes, the hierarchy.
You have the sheriff, and the chief deputy is the second person in command of the entire agency.
Okay,
So at a police department, that might be the assistant chief of police.
gotcha.
So her role is very much like that. So she's the number 2 person in charge of the entire agency. Out of the 99 sheriff's offices in the state of Iowa, Ardith Slight, my chief deputy, is the only female
Wow.
chief deputy in the state of Iowa.
Isn't that amazing? We embrace diversity here.
Well, when I
Love it.
took over in 2015, that of course was one of my first duties. I have to select someone
Sure.
to be second in command.
Yes, and a very important role.
It's a very important role, very responsible. So I wanted someone who was going to care about the department, care about the community, someone who was very intelligent, someone who was very organized, someone whose integrity was beyond reproach.
Yeah.
And Ardith is a 3-decade employee of the sheriff's office. So she's been there a long time. She has a lot of experience. She understands what works and what doesn't work, like we
Yes.
talked about before. And there was just no question in my mind that that was the right person for that job.
She's recently stepped up. I'm on the Muscatine Child Abuse Council, and she recently stepped up and joined us there. And it's just a wealth of knowledge to bring to the committee.
Well, she gets stuck kind of like I do.
Sure.
So any events or meetings that for some event I've got a conflict and I can't be 2 places at once,
That's right.
she has to attend those meetings, or there are a lot of meetings that she attends because her main focus is the patrol division and the investigations division.
Sure.
So she has a lot of meetings to attend that just pertain to those divisions also.
And the thing that happens is we have all kinds of coalitions in the community, which you need. You know, you need child abuse prevention and you need violence prevention, and drug task force commissions, and all of these. And a lot of them have requirements, like we need somebody from law enforcement on there. We need somebody from the medical field, somebody from the faith community, somebody from education. And there's only so many of us.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I think the police department has about 40 police officers, and I have 21 deputy sheriffs. So we kind of have a good contingent of law enforcement here. Obviously, West Liberty and Wilton have full-time police departments, and then there's some smaller communities that have part-time departments.
Sure.
But really, when you add everyone up, there's not that many law enforcement officers here. But everybody always steps up. I think everybody, the Muscatine police officers as well as my deputy sheriffs, they care about the community.
Absolutely.
And I think that we do the best job.
We see that over and over, don't we?
Yeah.
In almost everything we do.
You know, we have a presence, the sheriff's office does on Facebook. I know the Muscatine Police Department does also. And they're always out doing good things for people in the community. And I think it's important to showcase that on social media so that people know that we're out and about and we're helping people and what we're doing.
That's right. So what kind of different things have you made changes of since you've been in your role? What's new? What's improved? What have you done? What's your mark that you're leaving on this office? Not that you're going anywhere.
Well, you know, I always think it's a bad thing when you come up with some project because you're going to leave your mark on the office, because sometimes maybe it's not a good thing.
Sure. But
the biggest thing when I took over immediately in 2015 is we started down the road of the implementation of the new radio system.
Yep.
So we had a radio system that had served us well for years. The FCC came in and made some new narrowbanding requirements and did some different things that kind of caused our old VHF radio system to go downhill.
Sure.
It was not really functional. It wasn't deemed to be safe. And that was a big problem for me. If we have police officers and deputy sheriffs that don't feel that they're safe utilizing the radio system, guess what? Guess what? It means the citizens aren't safe either.
That's right. That's right.
So I wanted to immediately address that, and we did. So now we've been up and running for quite some time with the new radio system. And that did not just affect law enforcement. So it's a countywide radio system that was put into place, so all law enforcement uses it, all fire agencies use it, all EMS and first responders use it, and it is a public safety grade radio system that's very professional and functions pretty flawlessly.
And it took a lot of work to accomplish. It wasn't just a blink your eye and this is done.
It was very complicated. There was a lot of planning that went into it. It was not cheap. All in all, it was a $4 million project. But it was important, and I know the City Council and the Muscatine County Board of Supervisors felt it was important because they have a dedication to public safety.
Yes.
And making sure that we can serve the citizens well and being concerned about their welfare, I think, is one of the primary duties of a City Council person or a Board of Supervisor member. So they did step up to the plate and gave us the funding that we needed to accomplish that, and that was a good thing. But we have other things that we've implemented as well. We have in all of the vehicles now new high-definition in-car video systems that are much better than the old system that was in place. We have new light bars on all the cars.
Okay.
We hadn't purchased a new light bar probably in a decade. And the fact is we have more police officers and deputy sheriffs that get killed in the line of duty by being run over than what we do officers that get shot every year.
Sure.
So it's important to me that when they're out doing their job, they're out on the highway, especially a highway like Highway 61 where we see very high speeds, that they're very visible and that they're safe when they're doing their job. We also engaged in grants to put all brand new radar units in the squad cars, so those are top of the line pieces of equipment now. All of our AEDs in our squads needed replaced. It was a $40,000 project. We did not have money inside the budget to accomplish that. And Chief Deputy Slight actually went out and obtained grant funding.
Wow.
And we have all brand new AED units inside the squad cars now. Every time we do a squad car replacement, we're putting a brand new computer system inside that squad car. We've been dealing with refurbished units prior to that. And one big thing that we did was we went into our jail environment, and we had 10 people there that were part-time employees, and we eliminated all part-time jobs inside the jail. And one of the reasons why we did that is we had a terrible time competing in the job market.
Oh, sure, because who wants a part-time job
No
with
one,
no benefits?
Right, no one wants a part-time job
Right.
with no benefits.
So turnover would be high, and then you have a lot of staff time spent training, only for them to leave.
Right, and so we had
Yes.
fought those issues for years and years.
Yeah.
And the Board of Supervisors, when I presented this to them, they agreed with me. They eliminated those part-time positions. So now we're able to offer, when we offer a job to the public, it's a full-time job
Okay.
with benefits. So it's actually a good job.
Which is a lifetime career.
Exactly.
Not just a part-time.
And that's the way we wanted these people to view it, was
Sure.
we didn't want them to come to work at a job. We wanted them to come to work at a career.
Yes.
So they're actively currently hiring for correctional officer positions now, and it's a good job. Starting pay is about $19 an hour. So it's a higher wage job than what you can find at a lot of other places in
Sure.
Muscatine. And you know, unemployment's low, which is kind of our enemy. So it's a hard time
Sure.
finding people to apply
Sure.
because most people already have jobs. But we're finding that people are leaving their existing employment to come to work as a correctional officer because it's a better job.
Yeah. And you can take care of your family
Right. I
on
mean,
that career.
at the end of the day, everybody has to buy groceries, right, and bring
That's
them home for
right.
the family. And the correctional officer job offers good pay, it offers great benefits, and it offers job stability.
Yep.
So it's a very good thing to get
People
into
are
as a
committed
career.
and dedicated, and the training that they get, it has that longevity to it. So you're building their training throughout those years, and you have more experienced staff.
Right, and that's what we want. We
Sure.
want to get an employee in the door, be
Yeah.
able to train them, and then be able to retain them.
Right.
And we're finding that we're working that direction, but a big part of it was the elimination of those part-time
Part-time
positions.
jobs. Sure.
So,
Sure.
and we engage in grant funding whenever we can. You know, our special response team, we needed all new bullet-resistant vests.
Right.
It's a very, very expensive venture because they're a lot heavier and a lot higher quality than a vest that a police officer or a deputy would normally wear on the street. And so we were able to obtain local grant funding to take care of that endeavor so that we didn't have to use budget dollars there. But we engage in a lot of the same grants that you do as a city.
Sure.
So we have domestic violence grants. We have our grants that take care of our drug task force
Right.
agents. We have grants through the Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau to engage in some extra traffic safety enforcement, make the roads a little bit safer.
Right.
We had several years ago a terrible problem. We were having a lot of fatalities on the roadways. And the Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau has really come through and helped us and provided some grant funding so that we can try and keep everybody safe on the roadways.
Good. That's really got to be our first priority, doesn't it? Public safety.
Well, you know, it's kind of like a physician, right? First, do no harm.
Yes.
And yeah, the protection of life is sacred to us. It's our number one priority.
Exactly.
So it's a terrible situation when you have to go out on the roadway and deal with the fact that we've had a fatality.
Yeah.
It's tough for law enforcement to deal with. Obviously, it's a very tragic and upsetting situation for the family that impacts an untold number of people, not just the family, but the coworkers of that person, and
Yep.
it's certainly something that we're trying to avoid.
That's right. So what kind of things are coming up? What do we got to look forward to? Fall's right around the corner.
Well, very much like you,
Yes.
we just got through dealing with Ragbri.
Right. Right.
So they went the entire length of the county, so through West Liberty, through Atalissa, through Moscow, into Wilton, down into Wildcat Den, and then through to Bluegrass. So myself and my deputies started our day at about 6 a.m.
Wow.
And we had the bulk of the people really through here by about 3 p.m. But, you know, I was out as late as 8 p.m. and there were still actually some bicyclists on the roadway in Muscatine County. Now, I don't know where they ended up because I don't think they could have made it to Scott County by the time darkness fell.
Sure.
But, yeah, the bulk of the people were kind of in and through here by 3 p.m., which was okay. And July, we just got through with the county fair. So
oh, yes.
The sheriff's office always has a booth at the county fair, and that's just another tool that we use to be able to interact with the public.
Absolutely. Yep.
And we have Founders Day coming up in August in Wilton, so we'll definitely be up there for their activities as well.
Yep.
But it'll be good to get into fall.
Oh, it will, won't it?
We had some really, really hot days, which is not very comfortable if you're walking around in a bulletproof vest.
No. Or in a parade.
Well, our honor guard, I know you're showing some pictures of our honor guard, and you know that the picture that you saw, they were going through the parade in West Liberty, Iowa. So that was a county fair parade. It always seems like it's 110 degrees in the shade.
I know.
And those people, obviously, they have to march the entire length of the parade, and that's actually the longest parade route in the county.
Wow.
And they do a stellar job. They're always near the veterans, and so we have the veterans, and then we have the law enforcement presence where the deputy sheriffs are taking the colors through the parade. And people appreciate that, and people respect that, and they know that we have a great respect for our veterans in the community. So the honor guard's always well received at the parades.
Sure. Now, we have a lot of county parks, and I know you guys, do you do patrolling through those throughout? I mean, I was just reading an article on how much camping is up. My family's campers, so we camp all the time, but we haven't camped at Deep Lakes Park yet. But do you guys, is that part of your regular routine as well?
Yeah, county conservation has the main responsibility for the parks that are actually county parks. But it would be impossible for them to cover all that area. They only have a few employees. So the deputy sheriffs always make it a point to go through all the county parks. So they're in and out of Salisbury, they're in and out of Deep Lakes, they're in and out of Discovery Park on Cedar Street. So they regularly patrol all of those areas. And then Shady Creek and Clark's Ferry. So we have those on Highway 22 East at the east end of the county. Those are actually state parks. But once again, they don't have the personnel to man that.
Wildcat Den, same way.
Yeah. So Wildcat Den, Shady Creek, Clark's Ferry. We actually have a contract with the Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
And so we provide law enforcement services inside those state parks as well.
All right. Wow. You guys are busy, that's for sure.
Well, you know, we have about 14 deputy sheriffs that are the core of the road patrol. So the guys that you normally see out in uniform working in a marked squad car, although we have 21 deputies, there's 14 that have that as their primary assignment. And there's 470 square miles of Muscatine County to patrol. So obviously, you know, some agencies don't even work 24 hours a day. They just don't have the manpower to do it. And we work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and always have as long as I've been here, so for at least 32 years. But yeah, there's not a lot of deputies to do it, but we get it done.
Sure. Well, anytime you need to go petition that County Board of Supervisors for more staff, you can drum up a lot of support, I'm sure. Well,
and you know, we haven't asked for any new deputy sheriff staff.
I didn't think you had for a while.
Yeah, for quite some time. And although when you look at the problems of today, I think everyone can agree that the problems of today aren't getting easier, they're getting harder. And possibly they're getting more violent, and there are some things to contend with that several years ago we didn't have to contend with. But we have a lot of state mandated programs that we participate in, kind of whether we like it or not. So like the state sex offender registry, the county sheriff in each county is in charge of that. Well, the state didn't provide any funding for that. They just said, congratulations, sheriffs, here's another duty that you're in charge of.
Another unfunded mandate.
And that has become basically about a 40-hour-a-week job for a guy.
Which takes one whole staff person away from you.
And then you have to decide, well, where am I taking that away from?
Right.
So are you going to pull somebody out of investigations, pull somebody out of road patrol, because you didn't get an extra staff member to compensate for that? And we have several duties that are like that. They're very time-consuming. They're not something that we have a choice in. It's mandated that we do these things. But we have a really, really good group of deputies, and they do a great job.
Sure. Well, we appreciate all that you do for our county. I mean, we all feel comfortable. Anybody I've ever spoken with, I know that we can pick up the phone and call for help, and you guys are there to help them. So I don't think that anyone in your department has any lack of respect from the community.
No,
so
and that's...
I mean, we just have confidence. Maybe that's a better way to say it. We have confidence in your department that we can call for help and that you would be there.
That's typically what we find, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
We have different organizations inside the community that annually set up a dinner or set up some type of activity to celebrate law enforcement, first responders, fire personnel. So kind of the entire Muscatine County community, they're just very, very good at being thankful and appreciative of the good service that they get and the sacrifices that people make to give that service. Right. And trust me, I've been here for 32 years. There were times when the county sheriff's office and the Muscatine Police Department didn't actually play well together or get along very well.
I remember that.
And that's not the case today.
And nor should it be.
No, it shouldn't be. The goal should be that we get along, because if we get along, we give the best service that we can to the citizens.
That's right.
So.
And we don't live in a bubble. Even though we live in the city of Muscatine, I live in the city of Muscatine, I don't stay in the city of Muscatine. I'm out at Salisbury, or I'm out, on the county roads, or where have you. And I should have the same level of care from law enforcement within the city as I do as soon as I cross out into the county. And we should be able to expect that, and we do. And we do have it.
And obviously the primary enforcement responsibilities inside the city of Muscatine are carried out by the Muscatine Police Department. But if they need help,
they can call you.
They call us, and we come in, we help them. Whether it's the sheriff's office or the state patrol, everyone's willing to come in and help. And now it's been reciprocal, okay? And so if we have a problem out in the county, they're not afraid to send a Muscatine police officer out to help us.
Oh, that's right.
And we have different ventures that we engage in, like the Drug Task Force, where it's designed that we work together.
Right.
So we have city police officers that work there, as well as deputy sheriffs, as well as agents of the state of Iowa. And we have several different ventures that we work back and forth in a cooperative way with the city on. Now the most recent that we've become involved in is they've jointly engaged in the special response team.
Right.
So the city used to have a special response team. The sheriff's office had one. They were independent of each other.
Sure.
And we've joined those two organizations right now into one. It has greatly increased the manpower inside the organization, which increases the safety inside the organization. And whether there's a problem inside the city of Muscatine or out in Muscatine County, that's another example of how we're better able to serve the citizens. It was the same concept that they put into place when they decided to come up with a joint dispatch center.
Right, with Muscom.
So
sure.
That was designed to serve all the citizens of the county.
Share resources too.
Yeah, the city.
Why train the city police and the deputies? Why not be able to do it all together? And
right, the city of Muscatine used to have their own dispatch center. The sheriff's office had their own dispatch center.
Right.
So there was a lot of duplication of equipment that essentially needed to be bought twice.
Right.
And now that they've combined that and made it a joint entity, it's to serve the entire community, the entirety of Muscatine County, and maybe only make expenditures once for something rather than twice and be duplicative.
Be good stewards of tax dollars for the Muscatine County citizens.
Right. I mean, it hasn't saved a great deal of money in personnel costs because if you added the two organizations up, you need, X amount of dispatchers to do that
Sure.
job 24
Sure.
hours a day.
Yeah.
What it has saved some money on is that they no longer have to duplicate all this equipment.
Nope.
So all the equipment is in one place, and that has saved some money, which is good. It's good for the taxpayer.
And the communication's better.
Right. You never have to worry, well, I don't know, I was talking to a deputy sheriff and I didn't hear what was going on in the city.
Exactly.
So we've eliminated that
Yes.
now. We used to be on 2 different radio frequencies.
Right.
Now we're on 1 radio frequency. So in the event that there's an emergency, whether that be an automobile accident or a shooting or some other type of event, everyone is immediately notified so they know what's going on.
Yep.
And that helps officer safety and that helps public safety.
That's right. Knowledge. We all need that knowledge. Yeah.
Well, communication's the
Yeah,
key.
it is.
And it made communication better.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, is there anything else you'd like to share that you want the people at home to know about?
I know. I had a couple
thinking?
important anniversaries.
Okay.
So July 20th, I have my wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
And then on July 29th was my work anniversary. So
Wow.
July's
July's
a
a
big
big
month.
month for you. You should go on a cruise or something like that.
No, let's pretend that you didn't say that.
Give your wife a hint. I know.
Don't give my wife any idea.
Well, thanks so much for coming. Hey, if something comes up that the people need to know about, give us a call and we'll get you back on here and we'll get the word out.
I appreciate you
All
having
right.
me on.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Well, I wanted to share with you just a couple things that are going to be coming up. The Muscatine Art Center, I can't talk about them enough and how lucky and fortunate we are to have such a wonderful facility here in Muscatine. We have so many wonderful art pieces there that everybody needs a chance to get out and see. But they have some good things coming up. And I'm not at all swearing that I'm pronouncing this right, but Gerberich's Gadgetry at the Art Center, August 4th it's starting. August 4th, this Saturday, from 1:30 to 3:30 is the kickoff day. And they are going to be doing all kinds of fun things. 1:30 to 3:30, drop-in studio projects. Steve Gerberich, he's returning to Muscatine with this new exhibit, Art That Moves. So explore his world of entertaining contraptions in Gerberich's Gadgetry Retooled. The exhibition captures the imagination. He has all kinds of sculptures, Glamomatic, The Cranky Goose, Stuart Little Tours New City. It's free of charge. So grab your kiddos, grab your spouses, and come on out to the Art Center this Saturday. Now, this exhibit is going to be up until December, so if you can't make it on Saturday, just make sure you pencil it in for sometime this fall because it's not going to be anything that you're going to want to miss. And next, on Friday, August 3rd, the Art Center is celebrating National Watermelon Day. So, Muscatine is known for its watermelons, and everybody who comes here has to have watermelons. Well, the Art Center is going to have a fun celebration on this Friday. So 1 to 2:30 at the Art Center. It's free, no registrations required. Taylor's Market is sponsoring it. And they're going to have watermelon to eat, and they're going to have watermelon-themed crafts, and it's going to be a fun time. So if you are free on Friday from 1 to 2:30, please stop on over to the Art Center. I know they would love to have you, and kick off the day with celebrating Watermelon Days. Well, without further ado, we are welcoming Leslie Soule. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Leslie's our Muscatine County Auditor, and I guessed 20 years. You said
23 years.
23 years. Wow. So what does an auditor even do?
The auditor actually has quite a few different functions. It's really kind of strange because in corporate life, which is where I came from, these would be all different departments. But for a county auditor, we handle all of accounts payable for the county. We handle all of payroll for the county.
Wow, I guess I didn't realize that part.
We handle the real estate, keeping all the real estate transfers of property between people, the keeping the names straight on the records, keeping the maps straight. We compile the tax bills to make sure that every entity is going to get the amount that they requested, the
Sure.
schools, the cities, the Egg Extension, the county, the
Yeah.
townships, everybody. So
Okay.
we compile all those, and then we turn them over to the treasurer for the treasurer to send out and collect the taxes. We maintain all the maps. We are the lost and found for the county. So
Oh,
if
wow.
somebody loses something and it gets turned into our office, you can
Really?
we keep it for a year before we
Okay.
dispose of it or sell it at an auction, depending on
Uh-huh.
the value of it. I'm the clerk to the Board of Supervisors, so I take the minutes for all their meetings.
Okay.
We handle, our biggest, most visible thing probably is the elections. We handle
Sure.
everything to do with elections, from hiring the workers to designing the ballots to counting the votes to registering people, handling all the absentee vote, that sort
You
of
have a
thing.
big
So-
department.
Yeah.
How many staff do you have?
I have 4 wonderful staff members and myself.
You probably need every bit of it.
We need every bit of it. We do occasionally for a general election, we do hire a couple part-timers.
Oh, good.
Because we get so swamped with absentees, we'd never be able to get everything
Oh,
else
sure,
done.
sure.
So,
So,
but,
like
yeah.
with the taxes, we had the assessor on last week. Dale McCrae was here. And, or maybe that was a couple weeks ago. So when he prepares the house values, then that goes to you.
It comes to
and you
us.
prepare stuff, and then it goes to treasurer.
Right.
Okay,
Right,
so it
right.
works its way around there, doesn't
Right.
it?
Yeah, all our offices, the recorder, the treasurer, the assessor, and the auditor, we have to work really closely together because
Okay.
a lot of the things flow through us. When
Sure.
somebody sells their house or does anything with, they have to record their deed with the recorder, and then it goes through us so we can change the name. That goes to the assessor so that they can change things in their records, and then like you said, they come up with the value that goes
Sure.
over to us. We put the valuation report together, get it out to the different the cities, the schools, and everything, so that they can do their budgets, and because then they'll know how much money they can bring
expect,
in. They can
sure.
expect, and then we compile it for the tax. Once that comes back in, then we put it all together and compile it, which is what we're doing right now for the tax bills.
I
to go
thought
out
those
to
are
each property.
pretty close to coming out, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They're usually done by now, but we've gone through a big conversion with our software, and we've hit a few
Okay.
little snags with it. So we're
Sure.
a little bit behind this year by a few days, but we're hoping that they'll be out.
Get that behind you
soon,
before
yeah.
you start
Well,
voting
we
stuff.
sure hope so.
My goodness, there's some changes too.
Yes, yes.
So it seemed to me like it was like 2 years ago they started talking about having to have an ID, but you didn't have to have an ID in the last election.
No.
But they warned you
Right.
that you were
Right.
going to. So
We've
this
been kind of preparing people for
Sure.
a while now. While voter ID is required at the polls now, it's not really truly required yet. We're on a soft rollout.
Okay.
We ask for it. We hope that people bring their ID, but they can also sign an oath of identification this year.
This will be the last
This
chance.
is the
for
last
that.
chance,
Okay.
right? In 2019 is when they will have to show their ID.
Okay.
So we've been trying over the last couple of years to give everybody every opportunity to be able to get used to having
Right.
to show their ID.
Right.
But it is not technically still required yet. It is a
Okay.
soft rollout this year.
All right,
And
gotcha.
so we encourage everyone to bring their ID, but
Sure.
now there are certain situations though where an ID is required.
There are.
Yes.
Okay.
The ID is a soft rollout for pre-registered voters who have who haven't moved, who are
Okay.
going to their
So I've
same
lived in the
place.
same
and all-
place. Okay.
You lived in the same place. You're already pre-registered. You're voting the same place you always do. You
Okay.
haven't moved. That's the soft rollout. But if you've changed your address, or if you're not registered and you're doing same-day registration, then an ID is required.
Okay.
So that's why we encourage everybody to bring their ID.
Sure.
But it's technically
Okay.
for those pre-registered voters who haven't had any changes. It's technically not required until
Okay.
January.
So when I go vote, I vote at Mulford Church, there's like 6 or 8 people working there. So are those like temporary people that you hire?
Yes,
Okay.
we probably have 120 or so poll workers that we'll hire
Okay.
for a big general election.
Uh-huh.
And actually, we're looking to hire some more because you know, as a lot of them have done it for a lot of years. And
so they just come back every
They come back
time.
every time,
Okay.
and you know, we're always losing some, and we need to fill in with more,
Sure.
you know, that sort of thing. So, but basically, the precinct officials, we hire them for that day. They make $8 an hour.
Okay.
We are looking for more. They need to be a Muscatine County resident. They need to be registered either Republican or Democrat, because we do maintain party balance for big general or primary election.
Okay.
I try to maintain party balance for all elections, just because they all like to kind of work at the same place sometimes. So
Sure.
to switch
Seems
them
like I
around
see
for
the
school or
same-
city,
yeah,
I
what-
try to keep it somewhat balanced. Then I'm ready for the big elections. But what I want to make sure people understand, that while we're looking for these people, and I'm hoping, you know, we can get some more, you know, that someone will be watching this and we'll get some more. Whenever I do this, we end up with people coming in thinking it's a full-time job. It is not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
one
One
day, once or twice a year, you know, maybe 3 times a year.
How many
but it's
hours is it?
it's a long time. It's from, they have to start at 6 in the morning. So the
Okay.
polls open at 7, and they have to get there in time to set up.
Uh-huh.
And the polls close for a general election. They close at 9 o'clock.
That's a long
And then
day.
they have things they have to do to close up those polls and pack up and all that sort of thing. So it could be 10 or 11 o'clock till they're out of there. So it's a very long day.
Yes.
And they don't get breaks. They don't get to leave to eat or anything. They have to bring their food with them.
Uh-huh.
And every precinct's different. Some of them kind of have access to a kitchen. Some don't. Some have to do. Mulford's
They're
a
in there
wonderful.
cooking, and it smells
I love
heavenly.
going down to Mulford because it always smells so good down there. They always got their crock pots
Oh
going.
man,
and,
they're
yeah.
they're having a
Yeah.
feast.
Then I got other ones who unfortunately have to do it out of their cooler, you know, like,
Oh,
you know,
sure.
because they don't have access to that sort of thing.
So
Some of our
if
precincts.
anybody wants to,
If they want to, all they have to do is contact our officer. If they want to, or if they know of someone they think would do that,
Okay.
just contact the auditor's office
Uh-huh.
at 563-263-5821, and we'll get them set up. The other thing I'd like to emphasize probably about that I probably should have, is that with our new with all of our technology we have now, with our laptops and all that, it does help. Not totally required. We do have some positions that you can do that don't require use of the laptop, but we could really use some more that know their way around a computer a little bit.
Okay.
You know, their home computer. It doesn't
Sure.
have to be a lot, you know, but
Okay.
if you know how to do,
they don't have to know all of the different.
they don't have to
Okay.
know everything about
Excel
a computer.
and
No.
all that, yeah,
No,
okay.
it's a program. That they just type in the information. It tells them what to do next. It
Sure.
walks them right through it. But you want somebody who at least knows how to work a
Yeah.
mouse and knows how to, you know, has
Sure.
been on, you know, emails and stuff at home or something, so that they kind of know how to
Right.
work a computer, how to turn it on and off, that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing. So we are
Basic
looking for that.
knowledge.
Basic knowledge,
Yeah.
right.
So do they get trained?
Yes, we do
Okay.
train them. We also train before every primary and every general. We train all poll workers. We do a 2-hour paid training the week before the election.
Okay.
For all the poll workers, and that kind of takes them through the whole process.
Sure.
It's a little different every time, depending on, you know, what we're
New
emphasizing.
questions,
you know,
new
that
different
we always
stuff.
kind of cover everything.
Sure.
There's some things that if we've noticed we've had a little issue in some area that people aren't understanding, we'll emphasize that a
Okay.
little more. Voter ID is probably going to be emphasized a little more in the general election training, because
Sure.
that's getting, you know, it's been a little confusing for people. What's confusing about is what's an ID and what isn't, that sort of thing.
What
you know.
counts? Yeah.
Driver's licenses, non-operator IDs, those are, of course, easy.
Yes.
And those are scannable with our equipment, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. But you can also do a U.S. passport, you can do a U.S. military ID or a veteran's ID, but those are not scannable, so they have to realize that they have to take that and they have to actually type the information,
Sure.
which is fine. They
Yeah.
can do that, but you know that's
It's not as slick and easy.
no,
Right,
it's
but
not.
still counts.
Yep, but still counts, still works just fine. Yeah.
So there's a 2-hour training for all poll workers,
all poll
and
workers.
is there one for brand new people?
That's pretty much the training that covers
For everybody,
everything.
okay.
We do, if we have a poll worker who's interested in actually doing the precinct atlas, the computer part of it, that's a separate training.
Okay.
And we do have those throughout the year off and on,
Okay.
shortly before elections,
Okay.
that sort of thing. That's not right on top of the election usually,
Sure, sure.
but it's a little ways before the election, so that they can get used to the program and how to
Sure.
do, we go through several scenarios, and they do them all so that they
Right.
know how to handle provisional ballot, how to do a, just a regular
Right.
voter, that sort of thing.
So where are you on voting day?
Where am I on voting? I'm all over the place.
Okay.
I'm anywhere from in the office to out running around to different polling places, checking to make sure everything's going okay.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm called out there because something's, this last time we had it seemed like a certain time of the day, for some reason, a couple of our laptops just froze up, and I was running around getting those kind of
yeah.
rebooted and going again. And it's funny because my staff always says when I start looking over somebody's shoulder, that's when all of a sudden it works fine.
Of course.
And so the same thing sort of happens when I go
There
out
you
there.
go.
They've tried everything, and I walk in, and all of a sudden it just starts working again.
Sure. And then they're like, I swear, it's kind of like when you take your car to the mechanic.
Right.
And it won't make the noise anymore.
Yep.
Yes.
They're like, can you just stay here for a while?
Exactly.
So then I'll stay for a little bit, make sure everything
Okay.
really is going okay, and then.
So you don't get the day off.
Oh no. We're actually there late on Monday night because that's when they come in and pick up all their supplies.
Oh, sure.
And then we're there at 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, and we're there until the very end, until every
Wow.
supply is brought back and checked
And then
back
you
in.
count
and all
stuff.
that. Yes.
So it seems to me, just being an elected official, like, and maybe I'm wrong, but being the one sitting there waiting for
Yeah.
the totals, it seems to me like as soon as the polls close, you release the absentee ballot
That's
amounts.
correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We have those are all loaded in, but we have not printed. We don't know the results until the polls close because we can't actually print out anything off of our absentee
Okay.
equipment.
So you
until-
have them being counted.
They're counted throughout the day. I shouldn't say counted. They're put into the counter throughout the day, but we
Okay.
never print off any results until the polls close. We at that point close
Close
up that
it.
machine and get the results off
And
of
then
it,
it prints.
and immediately take it over and load it into our results computer. So
Okay.
that's always the first one because we
yeah,
get
it
that
seems-
done before anybody can get theirs all
Well,
closed up
sure.
and brought into us.
So then the other precincts have to close out
They have to close out
and bring it to you.
and bring it to us. And we get it relatively quickly
Yeah,
because
it's very
we
quick.
we use runners. So what we do is once they get theirs closed out, before they even pack up the rest of their stuff, they quick seal up that thumb drive that has the results on it into it. We have a sealed bag it goes into. They all have to sign it. That goes in
Sure.
the sealed bag. The seal numbers in the sealed bag that we're sealing it with so that we know it couldn't have been tampered with.
Sure.
And then that is sent immediately to our office so that we can hurry up and get the results on. And then we wait the rest of the night for them to pack up the rest of their stuff. And
Okay.
they have to still count their write-ins and bring all those
So
in
they're
and
probably
everything.
still there doing stuff when we
Right.
already know who won.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Some of them haven't even gotten there yet, and we're all done count. We've already reported all
wow.
the results and everything, and
Wow.
they're still. Then we wait for them. So we're actually there, and so are a lot of the poll workers. A long time after we've released the results.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you're still working into
Yep.
the night.
Yeah.
So as you're talking about all the different things that you do to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that this is secure, what kind of election security is there?
Well, and see, that's a good thing that I kind of wanted to talk about tonight because you hear all about hacking and all that sort of thing, and everybody's
Shards,
concerned,
paper
and-
shards.
And I don't know if there ever has been or hasn't been throughout the country. It doesn't really matter. It's
No.
the perception that it could happen.
Sure.
So we've taken a lot of steps in Iowa to try to put a lot of security on all our machines to put that out there so that people realize that our machines really are secure.
Okay.
And it's everything from our voter registration is a statewide voter registration module that we're all connected to the Secretary of State for that. That's going to, before the general election, have two-factor authentication, which is kind of like a debit card. You have something you have versus something you know. So with a debit card, you have the debit card, but you also have a PIN number, so that if somebody stole your debit card, they'd have to use the PIN number. That's
So
what.
it's a
fail-safe. It's
Yeah.
a fail-safe.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to have that before the general election. That's coming out probably in September sometime.
Okay.
And then on our Precinct Atlas laptops, those are now, as of this year, actually before the primary I did it, those are all encrypted and have multiple levels of passwords before you can even get into it.
Good.
So if something happened, and they're not connected to the internet, never have been. and they aren't going to be.
Okay,
So you'd have to pretty much steal the laptop.
I was going to say, how could you get access to the laptop?
But then there's several levels of passwords that you'd have to get through to try to get in, and and they're all encrypted. So so that takes care of those. Our vote counting equipment that you actually put your ballot into, that's not connected to the internet and has no capability of that. The thumb drive that comes off of it is sealed in that bag, brought back to us. The computer that we put that on in our office, that computer is not even on our county network. It is literally just plugged into the wall. There's no internet, no anything on it.
And as long as you stay away from that internet, you can't get hackers.
And there's absolutely no way, it's not even on our network, so you can't even get into it through our network.
So you couldn't do digging in.
The only way you could get into that computer is if you're physically in our office at the time that we're doing it.
That's so good to know.
If you're literally sitting there at the computer.
Sure.
Yeah, so we wanted to...
I'm sorry. Something happened. It just went off a couple minutes ago.
Uh-oh.
I overheated. I know. We're trying to figure it out. See, the audio is... The audio is coming through with that. Just like black. I didn't access it.
We're having some problems. We're having some technical difficulties. We don't know what happened with our live feed, but apparently you can hear us, but not see us. So we're going to finish up. How do you like that? We're going to finish up real quick. We were getting down there to the end anyway. I appreciate, Leslie, all of the information that you just shared with us about election security. You know, you always have those naysayers who are always saying, oh, that's rigged or that's rigged. You know, you always have that. And the way you just explained it, there's no way it could be.
And the one other thing I didn't get to say was that we, starting this year, will be having these post-election hand count audits. And it's highly probable that our county will get picked to have one precinct counted. It's not guaranteed. They have to count 89 of the 99 counties, but odds are we'll probably get picked.
Odds are.
And that's hand counted, so
and then compared with
the results.
Yeah,
so
very good.
That's another way that we'll be able to.
So we can rest secured in knowing that.
I believe so. I don't believe we've ever had a problem with our equipment, and I don't think we will. So.
Good to know. Last thing I wanted to touch on before we close out is write-ins.
Write-ins, yeah, write-ins are, you know, it's everybody's right to do a write-in, and I don't ever want to. I don't want to take that away from anybody. Sure. But what I would like to emphasize is, you know, there's inappropriate write-ins that, you know, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, none of the above.
You really get those?
We get. That's mostly what we get.
Oh my goodness!
A lot of it is that.
Not a person's name.
No, or they'll fill in the oval, but they won't fill in a name or something like that. All that has to be that night after the polls closed. That all has to be recorded by the precinct officials, and that takes time. Costs the taxpayers money. And they're tired. They'd like to go home.
Of course.
If somebody wants to do a write-in, that's perfectly their right. It's just, you know, if you don't like the people that are running and you want to write in a name, that's fine. Just make it be a legitimate
Make it be a real person.
A real person.
Yep.
You know, and I think part of that is some people feel like their ballot's not going to count if they don't fill in something on every office.
That's true, which is not true.
And that's not true. You can not vote for a particular office. It doesn't affect the rest of your ballot at all. And so I wanted to emphasize to people that, you know, they don't have to vote every office. They can leave it blank. They don't have to feel like they have to fill in that write-in oval or put something in there just because they don't want, they're afraid it'll wreck their ballot. It won't.
Okay.
And we would, I don't want to discourage people from doing write-ins. I just would like them to be appropriate write-ins.
Okay. So. What if you marked the oval for straight ticket and then you went on down and marked somebody?
Well, I can explain that. It won't be happening anymore because straight tickets are no longer going to be on the ballot.
All right. Well, we don't need to know.
We don't need to, but it wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered. Okay.
What you went and marked that wasn't on the straight, it looks at the office first. It always looked at the office first to see if you marked them. If you didn't, then it looked back at the straight ticket.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, but we won't have that anymore.
We won't have that anymore. No more straight ticket.
All right. Straight ticket.
Is there anything else you think we need to know, Leslie?
I would just encourage everybody, you know, we have the general election coming up. I'd encourage everybody to get out and vote for that. there should be things about the candidates coming out in the next few months, and do
right.
your education, get
Sure.
to know your candidates and all that, so you can make an intelligent decision and go out and
Very
vote.
good. Well, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
our backs and all the hard work you and your staff do to take care of all this stuff
Thank you.
behind the scenes, so we can trust and count on our vote, and trust and count on our taxes and all the other wonderful things. And knowing that our stuff is there safe and secure and lost and found for a year.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Leslie, so much. Before we sign off, I just wanted to ask you to save the date. August 9th in the morning, I'm going to be heading out to Allstill. They're going to have a Make-A-Wish Foundation fundraiser. We'll be sharing some of the details on that coming up. And next Tuesday, our guests are Kim Warren with AIM from United Way, and Judy Yates with the Domestic Violence Program at Muscatine Center for Social Action, MCSA. And don't forget, we have a City Council meeting on Thursday night. And thanks for joining us, and we apologize for the technical difficulty. See you next week here on Our City.
That's weird. You can still hear the audio going through the live feed, but all my controls just went black. I can't get back into it.
Am I clear now?
So you're clear, because we'll edit.
So you got all the sound at the end though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.